A man was arrested after investigators discovered that Google Maps location history placed him at the crime scene. That was the headline. It ran for less than a day. No photos, no names, just a short paragraph buried beneath politics and weather updates. Most people scrolled past it without realizing they were looking at the first documented case where a murder investigation didn't begin with a witness, a weapon, or a confession, but with a phone that remembered something its owner didn't know he'd left behind. The arrest happened quietly. No press conference, no flashing lights. At 6:12 a.m., detectives knocked on the door of a small rental house outside Cedar Grove, Oregon. The man who answered looked confused, half awake, wearing gym shorts and an old university sweatshirt. He didn't resist. He didn't ask why. He just stared at the floor while they handcuffed him, as if some part of him already knew this was coming. What unsettled investigators wasn't that Google Maps placed him near the crime scene. It was how long it said he stayed there. 3 months earlier, hikers discovered the body of a woman in Blackwood Forest, about 20 miles outside the city. The location was remote enough that it took days before anyone realized she was missing, and longer still before search teams found her. There were no witnesses, no usable fingerprints, no camera footage. The medical examiner ruled the death a homicide, but couldn't determine the exact cause. Exposure played a role, blunt force trauma, possibly. Nothing definitive. The case stalled almost immediately, until a junior analyst in the digital forensics unit noticed something strange while reviewing cell tower pings near the forest. One device didn't just pass through the area, it stopped at 9:58 p.m. and didn't move again for 47 minutes. The phone belonged to Ethan Calder, 34 years old, no criminal record, software QA tester, lived alone, paid taxes, no history of violence, no known connection to the victim. At first, detectives assumed it was coincidence. Plenty of people drove near Blackwood Forest. Some pulled over to take calls, some got lost. But when they requested Ethan's location history through a warrant, the data told a more detailed story than anyone expected. Google Maps didn't just show where he went, it showed how he moved. The timeline indicated that Ethan arrived by car, exited the vehicle, and continued on foot. The walking path veered off the service road and into the trees, straight toward the clearing where the body would later be found. Then came the detail that changed everything. At 10:31 p.m., the app logged an extended stationary period. No movement, no steps, just stillness, right where the body had been discovered. When detectives brought Ethan in for questioning, they didn't accuse him of anything. They didn't even mention the victim. They asked him about his phone. "Do you use Google Maps?" one detective asked casually. "Sometimes," Ethan said, "for traffic." "Do you keep location history on?" Ethan shook his head. "No, I turned that off years ago." That was the first lie. The second came when they asked him if he'd ever been to Blackwood Forest. Ethan hesitated, just long enough. "I don't think so." The detective slid a printed satellite image across the table. A blue dot marked the center of the clearing. Beneath it was a timestamp and a label, visited location. Ethan stared at it, his face drained of color. What is that?" he whispered. "That," the detective said, "is where your phone says you were when she died." Ethan swallowed. "I don't remember that." What finally broke the case wasn't the location data alone. It was something Google recorded without Ethan ever realizing it. At 10:14 p.m., during the stationary period, Google Maps automatically generated an internal data packet labeled ambient activity. Not a voice memo, not a call, just raw background audio used for environmental classification. Wind, footsteps, and a man's voice speaking softly, close to the microphone. When investigators played it back, the room went silent, because the voice wasn't asking for help. It wasn't panicked. It was calm, and it said, "I need to remember where this is." Ethan never confessed. He still maintains he doesn't remember what happened in the forest. But Google Maps does. It remembers when he arrived, it remembers when he stopped, and it remembers when he left alone. This case is still cited in digital forensics for one reason. It wasn't solved by technology that watched a crime. It was solved by technology that quietly waited until someone realized it had been keeping notes the entire time.